Dun, dun, dun.
Hey, hello everybody. Welcome to the Punch Up Pod with Lila and Pat. How's everyone doing? Pat, how are you doing? Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day.
Top of the world. I'm humbless, but I'm happy to be your. Wait, did I just?
That's
Hey, let's
private,
start it over.
personal
Let's go back to
information. What?
welcome.
What?
What?
Welcome. I'm sorry to hear that you're humpless, but better days are ahead. Cheers. It's been another
How was
week.
your weekend?
I'm
week?
so glad you asked because, yeah, a lot's happened. The last time we aired a week ago, I was only on level 66 of Cube Master, and I am
Tony
obsessed.
Robbins advanced.
Yeah, Cube Master.
Cube Master.
I love it, and I finally have surpassed my husband, so that's all I ever need is to be one step. He's important. Meanwhile writing screenplays and getting movies made, but I know where my priorities lie, which is Cube Master. Yeah, Jeeves, hello. We will get to this. I know you just put it up there, but welcome. Greetings, fellow health careless peasants. What a week for California. Right. We'll talk about it, but good grief.
So I just, along the lines of you, I started playing Wordle. Of course,
Wordle I'll have to start texting you the thing that nobody ever wants to see, which is somebody else's score. But now I'm going to do it every day to you too.
Well, today we should share scores because I got it in 2.
Shut up.
I'll show you the proof.
Spoiler alert. I'm about to ruin the word. If you haven't played Wordle today, close your ears.
No, don't do it. Don't do it.
Really? You don't think I can say it? It's already 5 o'clock. You don't think I can say it?
Yeah, well, spoiler alert. If you're a Wordle crackhead,
spoiler alert. If you're a Wordle person, just
mute us.
Yeah. So I got it on the second one. I knew the last 4 letters, and then I put foist instead of moist. Why? Why foist?
Wait a minute.
Foist came to me first.
Okay, wait. We need to check on this because I started the app 2 days ago. I use the app. There's an app.
Okay.
And I have a feeling the daily app one is not the same as the daily web one.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
Moist
that wasn't your word?
That was not today.
All right.
So spoilers everywhere.
Yeah. Hey,
but also, I'm going to get today's Wordle in 1.
So don't share it. That does not.
It's on.
That's so nice. Thank you, Egg64. We're figuring out our Patreon account. We're both really bad at the business side of things, but we do love making the show, but we would love the shekels eventually. So thank you. Appreciate that. And yeah, hoist. I mean, you could have gone through many different consonants before you get to moist, but moist was it. But you got it in, I know. There's the prom jokes again. Stop it, Pat. Have another drink.
After my intro, you're going to bring up moist. Let's move on. Should we hit the wheel already?
Let's just hit the wheel. We got a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Should we do it?
Let's do that.
All right. Let's have a good show, everybody. Grab your drink.
Cheers. Thank you for joining us. And have a beverage of what? Oh, Kiko. Hello, Kiko. Yeah, I'm a simp. That's what I do. But can I just tell you on the if you actually put the app on, you can select up to like 8-letter words or something ridiculous. Like it gets exponentially.
That's not the original one. Then that's not the real one. That's somebody who like pilfered the.
I think it's the real people. It's a beta thing, but I don't know.
Really?
Who knows?
All right, you might be right. But I heard that the real guy just sold it to the New York Times.
It's probably like I'm probably pushing people to some Amazon thing.
Yeah, well, you and Neil Young. You and Neil Young living in the free
world.
All right, we'll
let's
get
spin
to
this. Oh, wait.
Oh, what?
I was about to spin the wheel. Come on, we need the intro. Worked too hard on this intro.
You always mute me during these things.
No, you have to unmute yourself.
All right.
When you play a video, it means.
Now we're going over all your good work. You're talking.
That's all right. It needs to be done.
All right. What do we got today? We got Blue Trump. We got Lethal Aid, saved over from last week. Joe the Rogan, Force the Vote, California style, and Biden brain drain and lots of shots.
Yeah, I didn't know what to put for Joe Rogan, but the is a reference to Joe the plumber, because he's sort of like the average guy, just to explain it.
Thank you. I didn't get it, but I laughed anyway.
I knew literally no one was going to get that.
I'm supportive like
that. It's not
that.
even funny, but I just didn't want to write Joe Rogan, so I'm like Joe the Rogan.
Well, putting the in between the two words makes everything funnier. You should put the with two E's, like Megan the Stallion.
Right. Patrick.
That's what the young kids do. All right.
Lila the Charles the Lie. Let's do this. Let's spin the wheel.
Yeah, baby.
What the hell is happening over here?
Blue Trump. Do you not see it?
Perfect.
Yeah, we got Blue Trump.
A Windows pop-up came over here, so it kind of threw me off a little bit.
We didn't see it, or I didn't see it.
Good.
You know, this kind of just has to be an ongoing segment of the wheel, because there's just no denying that most of the worst policies that we were told were, you know, fascism on the rise, and the reason that people had to vote for Biden because of harm reduction, he is just continuing most of those policies. However, this week, that's a good one. He outpaces Trump in issuing.
I mean, there's so many policies.
Right. This just started today, which is the U.S. government ends daily COVID death reporting. Health and Human Services no longer has to report the deaths, because if you don't report them, if a tree falls in the woods and nobody hears it. So that's.
Yeah, we're at 3,500 people pretty much dying a day right now. And the message from I mean, we'll get to some of the tweets, but like the message is that things are fine. We have to learn to live with it.
People use endemic entirely incorrectly. They keep saying it's just endemic, like that's something you have to live with, but that's not actually what endemic means. And we're not living with it. We're dying from it. Like there are precautions and there are protocols that you put in place if something is endemic. That's not what's happening. Yeah.
Right. But the point is that Trump is no, go put that up. But Biden is all the things that made you fearful of Trump for the most part. And you're like, well, at least Biden's going to be better on COVID. At least he's going to
the environment
debt. He's going to be better on the environment. He's going to get the kids out of cages. So even if you're a sort of moderate Democrat, you should look at this stuff and say, well, that's going to cost Democrats votes that he didn't do this stuff. So if you're really scared, like you should be, of the right winning, you should think, well, holy shit, we need to make Biden do some of these things, because he ran on this stuff, and it's going to be a murder in the midterms, and it's going to be a murder in 2024 for sure.
Yeah.
No student. So here's the student loan stuff.
Denying protections to people who are trying to file bankruptcy for their college loans. You know, and there's just like one post after another when they ask for people to write in about their student loans. You know, it's like, oh, I borrowed $40,000 20 years ago. I've been paying $1,000 a month for the last 20 years. And now I owe $60,000, right? Like, because people's loans were sold to these predatory companies. It's like loan sharks, and people who started borrowing student loans in the last 20 years have a very different experience from people who borrowed before that. And they're, you know, I know we all know, but so many more times what they initially took out. And of course, Joe Biden was part of the architect of that structure that keeps people under the weight of these loans for their whole lives.
Right. So, he's from Delaware, and he was known as the senator from what was it, Citibank, or no, the city
Delaware.
Yeah, he had a nickname, but this is way before our time, and this is why people don't understand that he worked in Delaware was known for all the shady financial disclosures. It's where people incorporated. And so he was the senator from MBNA. MBNA was the shady credit card company that got a lot of people into some bad stuff. So he ran on at least forgiving $10,000 of student debt immediately. He said it was I will immediately cancel $10,000 worth of student debt, which was woefully under what everyone else running was going to promise.
Right.
And instead, we have that article from the Daily Poster with David Sirota showing that his own court is literally fighting a case that makes it easier. It would set a precedent that could make it easier for the most extreme people, like the clearest cut cases where people actually fight within the current process to declare bankruptcy because they have no means to pay their student loans off.
And I think this person actually is like suffering from some disability and has epilepsy and is like really having a hard time. And this is what his Department of Justice is going to go after.
Right. And they made the case in front of the judge who declared at the end of it, this person has no ability to possibly ever get the income needed to pay off his student loans. And you have to go to get to that point. You have to produce so much evidence in your favor. And the judge agreed. And Biden's court is fighting this. And this is not some legal thing where they have to fight these cases. They select which cases they're going to fight.
Right.
So here's our guy who's supposed to be concerned.
Empathetic Joe. It's always about the precedent, right? Which is why like Amazon or Starbucks will spend hundreds of millions of dollars to stop unions because it's worth it in the long run. So it's worth it to Biden and his Justice Department to make sure that people cannot declare bankruptcy from student loans. Let's keep going. Prisons. How about those prisons? Said he'd cut incarceration in half, but it's only growing. And in fact, a lot of the money from the CARES Act, I think, it's here. They actually pushed towards jails and prisons so that he could show that he was tough on crime. Decreased OSHA standards, just abandoned worker safety protocols. And then this was the latest one, was continuing a little-known Trump-era pilot program that clears the way for doctors and private health insurance to switch patients from Medicare to privately run insurance. That is actually a Trump program that he is continuing.
Yeah.
So it's pretty grotesque. And then, we have Manchin out there in public just saying that Build Back Better is dead, which, it was they'd already stripped it of so much of the meat of what could have helped people, but still, at least it was something. It was like a bare bones structure. It's dead. And nobody's talking about putting pressure on them except for, sorry, I got to say it, my guy Bernie is the only one who's talking about primarying them. But, doesn't matter. Nothing's going to happen. They haven't been stripped of any of their committee assignments.
Yeah, well, lowering child poverty by 50% is the key.
Yeah.
So he did that his first year. So first off, to make this clear, I mean, obviously, that was that's the one thing that Democrats have a legitimate brag on. I mean, I will say, like, good for them. They did not lower it by 50%. First off, I want to make this clear.
Yeah,
I think I've already said first off a few times. So let's second off this one. But
okay.
Second off, a study came out that showed that they did, and who knows if this is bullshit too, but they lowered poverty by 30% through the program, right?
Right.
Which was the tax breaks, basically. Families were getting $300 a month or so per kid.
Child. Yeah.
Yeah. So great. That's amazing. But they let that policy lapse. But they remember that study that said it would lower it by 50%. Yeah. And then that was my
one appearance on Jimmy Dore.
Oh,
he used my tweet where I showed, like, in the morning it had said it was predicated on a $15 minimum wage, and by the afternoon they just removed that little part of their policy page.
Right. And so the end outcome is what we said, which was that was bullshit. It was 30%. But that's still impressive that something was able to lower childhood poverty by 30%. But it's also very unimpressive when your party just says, and lets it go. Let's go. so it's not important.
Yeah, and imagine that if it's really that easy to lower childhood poverty by 30%, 20%, do it all. Like, what are we doing? What are we protecting here? Yeah, I know, badass shrink. I saw this. Almost makes me miss Trump. I don't miss Trump, but I understand what you're saying. I mean, I don't miss Trump, but I also can't stand Biden, and I won't miss him if we get rid of him. I mean, they are just the most despicable people on the planet, and they are bringing us all to ruin, and they just don't care. So I hear you. I know you're joking, sort of, but like, I'm so just disgusted by the whole lot of them. Just awful.
But in the long run, where are we at when you have Trump, you're like, okay, we get out of this by being the opposite of Trump, and
right.
And everyone in the country agreed. I mean, everyone on the left, everyone left of center agreed Trump bad, right? We got that. That's the starting point. But now that Biden's there, it's like
half those people stop talking.
The slightest fear of Trump brings everyone that we try to get on our side for these issues.
Yeah.
They're just like, well, shit, that's important, but fuck Trump. So I don't care if abortion is, everything.
By the way, like, why haven't we codified Roe v. Wade? Like, we could do it, but because they want to raise money on it, right? I know you don't. I know. I just wanted to put that up there. The disclaimer. I know you don't really miss Trump. All right, let's spin the wheel.
Well,
should we go?
Some people do.
I mean, I know. He's funny. His tweets are funny.
I do miss.
His tweets are fucking funny.
Yeah, baby.
Yes. My favorite segment of the wheel. You know what? I already poured mine because I thought we were getting there earlier and I was ready.
You queued it up?
I did. I queued it up.
So did I.
Oh, look at that. Cheers. All right. Cheers, everybody. Wow.
By the way, I'm almost out of whiskey.
What? Say it isn't so.
I have 5 shots in my bottle there, so we're good.
All right. That might last you through the hour. But you better fix it for next week.
All right, let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, baby.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. This is my mood today,
it's like,
all day.
You say shot. What's that thing Candyman or something? Like something, I don't know.
Beetlejuice.
You say Beetlejuice. Yeah. It's so we landed on shot, and then shots beget shots. So cheers.
Cheers. I haven't really eaten today.
Oh, that's good.
Yes, it's always the best way.
Let's do a 2-hour show then.
Yeah, baby.
Let's get real.
The front door. What? Wait, if you remove all the shots, then we're just gonna be stuck for the next 40 minutes. So you better leave that one. No,
you want to leave?
Really?
Oh, you're gonna leave a shot.
Well, okay, I don't know. Okay, this is our third one, and then all of a sudden we only have 2. All right, maybe you're right.
No,
I don't know.
Once you said it, I can't be. I can't be softer than you, Lila.
Oh.
I mean, I can. I'm a feminist. So.
I know.
I don't know.
Oh my God. Okay, wait a second.
I'm just trying to. I'm working on being a little misogynistic before we get to Joe Rogan. To set up.
Absolutely.
I should say something really sexist.
Yeah, save it all. Okay, ready?
Oh, shots.
Did you already take your shot?
No, I didn't.
All right, ready? Cheers.
Ooh. All right, good stuff. What do we got? Little John. Yeah. Wait, I can't do that.
Wait, yeah, the shot.
Boy or something. Little John.
Everybody's doing the shots with us. I love it. All right, let's go. I hope my mom's doing shots. My mom's watching. She watches every week.
Is she?
Yeah, she watches every week, but I doubt she's doing shots with us.
I was asked about my show earlier.
Yeah.
Because I'm a good kid, so I helped my parents earlier today.
That's very nice.
Ladies, I'm a nice guy. Let's just say. But I'm leery about them watching it. I mean, they promoted my books to their friends and whatnot,
right.
But it's still sketchy because they're the exact people who they will watch one show on MSNBC and just think, fuck, it doesn't matter what Dems do ever. I'm going to vote for any Democrat ever. And
I mean, that's
we're doomed because of that.
We are doomed because of that. Democrats have set it up really well for both of those reasons. They encourage the most evil people on the right. And they give people a sense of moral superiority for voting Democrat, in spite of anything that their party might do. So they're it's a great strategy for keeping people in that duopoly.
Yeah, they'll always fall back on, well, what's the alternative? And so it doesn't matter. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, it matters because we have to get in the streets and protest and raise hell, and we'll get to some of that.
Yeah, baby.
Okay. So, it's so interesting because, as we all remember, during the primaries, there was quite a bit of talk, and we'll show quite a bit of talk about the possibility of Joe Biden's decline in mental capabilities. Yeah. But just recently, there was another article just written. Oh, you got it. Look how fast you are. Ninja. Should the nation be concerned about Biden's cognitive abilities? And 49% of Democrats are worried or are not entirely comfortable with how they see his abilities. So we're allowed to talk about it again because there was a period that we weren't. But we should just remind people of what happened. I'm going to get there. What happened at the beginning of the primaries? Here it is.
President Obama reportedly told Joe Biden directly, quote, "You don't have to do this, Joe. You really don't."
That is not a joke. That is a natural fact.
I think Biden looked unsteady at many points.
Play the radio. Make sure make sure you have the record player on at night. The phone.
He's not the most polished speaker anymore.
The president my friend from Vermont thinks that.
Watching his long, winding answers that don't really make sense in recent debates has also raised the question as to whether that has gotten worse and whether he is up for this.
The fact is that the bills that the future president here.
There's a lot of people who are concerned about Joe Biden's ability to carry the ball all the way across the end line without fumbling.
Go to Joe 30330.
He looked kind of unsteady and almost deer in the headlights.
So what are we doing? What's going on right now?
He's not that good at this. I mean, he's clearly not that strong a candidate, thinking on his feet.
Anyway, my time's up. I'm sorry.
I think there are some concerns, and they've been expressed by Democrats themselves.
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
Over whether Joe Biden is equipped to withstand a very grueling campaign.
We choose truth over facts.
Joe Biden was really shaky, both because he was stumbling through his answers.
I'm the vice president of the United States.
And also because the substance of those answers hasn't really gotten better.
Those details are irrelevant.
I think we're going to see growing questions, wondering if he has the mental and physical stamina to get through this campaign.
I love this place. Look, what's not to like about Vermont in terms of the beauty of it? And what a neat town.
Obama warned Biden's aides to make sure Biden didn't embarrass himself.
Imagine what would have happened if, God forbid, Barack Obama had been assassinated.
Real conversation that is happening among Democrats. Has he lost a step? Is he too shaky?
I want to be clear. I'm not going nuts.
There are definitely moments where you listen to Joe Biden and you just wonder.
Okay, so obviously some of that was kind of gross because it was put together by Trump War Room, which is vile. I had started pulling clips, and it's hard to find them anymore because they've kind of been scrubbed from my normal news sources. So that's what I found. But of course, it comes with like the editorial awful comments, which I'm not endorsing. But all of those pundits on CNN and MSNBC, those are Democratic establishment pundits who were expressing a lot of concern during the primaries. It was very clear, and that was 3 years ago.
Right. And the reason they were allowed to do that is that the party and the Democratic donor corporate sort of structure did not see him as the candidate at that point. They saw Kamala Harris as the candidate.
Yep.
Ultimately, he ended up being the backup. Everything else we tried failed because they knew initially. I mean, initially they even reported on his touching kids and the creepiness. That was a story. That was a story for about a week, and then they were like, "Well, all right, let's see where this goes."
Yeah.
But they got cornered because Kamala wasn't going to work. Buttigieg wasn't going to work.
Yep.
They had no option. So all this reporting stopped, and it became Bernie can't beat Trump. So if Bernie can't beat Trump, Trump wins and fascism rules. So we have to all pretend that that Biden is fully there and viable.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah. And I mean, at the beginning of the primary, all they did was talk about Bernie's age, and then about his heart attack was nonstop. And then, his medical records that he submitted weren't adequate, which was, each thing had to then be debunked. But with Biden, they let this person who very clearly was having issues. And I mean, there were many debates where he would start talking and in the middle of a sentence, just say, okay, I think that's my time, and just stop talking, which, by the way, is probably what I would do. I mean, I can't even imagine the amount of knowledge that people have to retain. So I'm not judging from on high for sure. I just expect more out of the person who's supposed to be the leader of the free world. Yeah.
Well, and the reporters, I mean, how can you be a reporter who covers all of this before he becomes the nominee and then just ignore it? Like,
yeah,
I get that. And this is where all these articles that come out in the New York Times and the Washington Post, they start pushing this. Well, is it okay to critique Democrats? They're like, they push this narrative that like, it's okay to not be honest about things because fascism is the alternative.
Because you need to support democracy.
Yeah, democracy's at stake. So it's okay to not be honestly reporting on this. It's just,
which is the opposite of democracy, obviously. But yeah, when democracy dies in the darkness, as Jeff Bezos's paper is so fond of saying. Okay,
I didn't hit remove on Biden brain drain, so we might get it again.
If we land it, we'll figure it out.
Or we'll get a shot.
Let's go, baby. Oh my God. My face is already, you better. My face is already so red.
Good.
I have 6 lights on myself right now.
You have 6 lights?
I do. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 lights. And
so I have a ring light in front of me.
Yeah.
Which is weird because like I have the camera's right here and I'm like trying to be natural. Anyway, nobody cares about this. This insider stuff.
There's a lot that goes into this fancy show. Okay, wait, where's your shot?
Oh shit. Here we go.
Okay.
Cheers.
Cheers, everybody.
Wait a minute. You could do your shot. Sorry. I just saw in the chat a reason to cheer. So let's cheer to this.
Yeah.
$23 billion. Really?
Cheers to that. I definitely have some left. I love it. I don't know why, because he got Neil Young bringing people over to. Oh no, that's not Amazon. That's Facebook. Okay. Meta.
Yeah.
I just had a sip of
it. I just want to say yes. Bernie is sharp as a tack. I love Bernie. I will always support him. I mean, if he runs, he's the only one I would still get behind. I know people wouldn't. Some people wouldn't, but
I mean,
I'm saving that discussion.
Let's save that discussion for when it happens.
Yeah. All right. Fine. Mike.
All right.
Yep. Let's go.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
All right, that's good.
That's good. Yeah. So this is getting scarier and scarier. Right.
I didn't hit remove, so I apologize. But
that's all right. But that's gonna be there next week too. Democrats are rushing through a massive Ukraine defense bill. They're getting, I think, $500 million in lethal aid. weapons to Ukraine, of course, faster than they've gotten us at home testing or N95 masks or anything that might save lives over here and protect their actual citizens of their country. But the other interesting thing is that it really is contrary to what the Ukrainians seem to want. I mean, the president of Ukraine has been asking the US and UK to tamp it down, to stop sort of like inciting this, overnight from the US. That's right. 100 tons overnight from the US government to Ukraine neo-Nazis. That's right. Here are some of the people we're training. The CIA training the Azov battalion. Here they are. Azov. And then the other thing that's interesting about this group of Nazis, I don't know, is they are also helping train US Nazis. So they work with the Proud Boys. They encouraged the insurrection that Democrats are so upset about, the worst act on American soil, is being helped along by the very people who we're sending aid to, who are Nazis in Ukraine. I mean, it's a kind of crazy situation we're getting ourselves into.
Yeah. So the fucked up thing about foreign policy, I have a lot of thoughts on foreign policy, but we're so bombarded with propaganda. Mm-hmm. I mean, foreign policy is 100% propaganda, because everything is to increase funding for the military is the propaganda. So even if let's say we should help Ukraine, let's say it is important that we're on the border. How do we know that? How would we possibly know that? Because we know that all of our interest on mainstream media is to raise money for the war machine.
There you go.
So
right? Yeah. Should the U.S. rattle Putin's cage? Presented by Lockheed Martin.
Right. So how do you this is the cry wolf thing, it's like when and so you see these stories about you see Ukraine saying, no, we don't really want you involved in this. No, we don't want, you're escalating your interest here, and you're fueling a war that's not going to happen. They're not likely to come in here.
Right.
We don't want to be involved in this. We're hearing that. And then we're hearing people saying, well, that's propaganda.
Right.
But ultimately, the military and industrial complex is here to gain from an interaction. So
that's right. Yeah, they got to pad their coffers. And, I think just we and UK pulled our ambassadors, which I think they were horrified by, but no other nation pulled their ambassadors. And I think, that undermines Zelensky's ability to show his, to not have to show his hand as Biden is pushing for a war that Ukraine's trying not to have with Russia. I mean, it really is a disaster. And it feels like, I don't want to say we've learned nothing, because they don't care. It's not, they learned everything. They made trillions of dollars over the last 20 years, the military industrial complex. So they learned exactly what they wanted to learn.
Well, so the way I see this, my read on this currently, and I, like I said, we're so propagandized that my read on this could change, but we got out of Afghanistan, which removed justification for trillions of spending.
That's right.
So we increased the military budget after leaving the most expensive war we were ever in.
Right.
So they need some sort of justification to put out trillions of funding. So we're going to make it Ukraine, probably is
that's right.
That's how I read this. We're going to find some reason to say
increase the military budget. Yeah.
Yeah, we increased the military budget
and then increased the military
after leaving
budget.
this insanely expensive war. So you should immediately have said, we're in a pandemic. Let's take the money we're saving from leaving Afghanistan and put it towards, I don't know, just N95 masks for people. I mean, obviously healthcare is the most important thing. We're going to get to that, but
it's pretty bad. But also to see those battalions with Nazi flags that we're sending money to is really and they were also they helped train the Jews will not replace us, the Charlottesville people also, which I know is also Proud Boys, but like all of the groups, they are all, it's an international web of people who feed off of each other.
And imagine if Trump had that image of us sending folks to that group.
Yeah.
Like flip this around. Trump is president right now. So let's just say those connections are not as solid. Like, you know, the people, the normie Dems are trying to downplay those connections with the Nazi. Right. Okay. So Trump's president. Nazi, he's putting money towards, I mean, it's a whole different world. So the media is not, I mean, the mainstream media is not covering this equally. I mean, that's a clear thing. I mean, I fuck Trump entirely, but like,
I know.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, they are.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. They need to find a way to justify spending all these trillions of dollars.
Yeah.
All right, let's spin the beautiful wheel.
Let's spin that beautiful wheel.
Yeah, baby.
Okay. That's a great show. That's a great show. Come on.
Here's the thing.
Better.
I'm going to not remove it just to keep it going.
Okay, good. I think
let's go. Let's go.
You do you. No, I think that's great. I think that's a good choice.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
All right, cheers.
I think I'm going to enjoy this in the middle of the night when I'm in a cold sweat. All right, cheers.
And by the way, my local brewery, which is really local, King Kong Brewery.
Oh, cute. I love it.
They don't even know I exist. But 95815, which is only one digit off my zip code. So it's a local beer. I support local breweries instead
of. Good for you. Look at you.
Yeah. This is how
you're a man of the people. You're a man of the people.
People say, if someone says you're not doing enough locally, I'm like, I'm buying local beer. Come on. Come on.
All right.
Cheers. Let's spin the wheel. What do we got? Baby. What do we got?
So, come on. That's ridiculous. My mom's not going to do 5 shots in 1 hour.
Oh, my mom, she would do 5 shots in an hour. That's all I'm saying.
Oh my God. I should have brought like
this was your call, by the way.
I know it was. I should have brought like bread or nachos or something here. I can see my face getting redder and redder. All right. You ready?
Cheers. What do we have? Can we just do the FTV one? I agree. We're going to get to the FTV one for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. We know this. All right.
Yeah. All right. Should we just talk about it?
Yeah, baby.
No.
Okay, we're gonna take our chances.
We're gonna spin it. There we go.
Look at that, Dieter. You were right. FTV. Let's go. Force the vote. I'm sure y'all remember that there was a much ballyhooed debate back in January of 2021 when Nancy Pelosi was up for Speaker of the House, and there was a contingent of people who were hoping that the Progressive Caucus, or at least the squad, would force the vote and would try to leverage some power against Nancy Pelosi in exchange for some of the promises that they had made their own constituents.
Right. And the whole idea is that they wouldn't have voted for her leadership in exchange for her pledge to bring Medicare for all to a floor vote. And the point of that is that a vote, getting people on the record saying they support Medicare for all, is valuable. And this week, California Democrats proved they are fucking useless.
We have a super majority in this state. We are all Democrats, and we had a free at the point of service CalCare AB 1400 bill that was supposed to come to a vote yesterday, and they pulled it.
Yeah. So for anyone who doesn't remember, the prior bill that the left fought like hell for was SB 452, I believe. I don't know. But we got all these Democrats on record saying they would support it. And then one person in the party was able to table the bill. And essentially the same thing happened. The only thing this time around is that, and I'm sorry, and that was a state Medicare for all. It's Medicare for all,
right?
Basically, but
right.
for the state. And so CalCare is the same thing. And the author of the bill, who is a Bernieite, he withdrew the bill himself, saying that the votes weren't there and that he didn't think it was valuable to the left to see. So
it came on the heels of California progressives saying that they were going to primary anybody who said that he or she was for this bill and then didn't vote for it, that they were going to watch these votes, and that way they would know who wasn't actually acting in the interest of their constituents.
Right. The Progressive Caucus here said, and to their kudos to them, they have been very aggressive lately.
Yeah.
They said, we're gonna primary people who aren't supporting this bill. We're gonna go after them hard, and then
let's see who votes where. And so then
let's see who votes where
by not putting it up to a vote.
And then the Bernie guy backs out and pulls his own bill. And so the first bill was under a lot of scrutiny, and their argument against the first bill, SB 452, let's just call it that, because I have a terrible memory. The argument against that was that it didn't have a funding mechanism, but it was intentionally written to not have a funding mechanism because there are alternate ways to funding it. And they didn't want the source of funding to be the way to dismiss the bill.
But in this one,
right?
This one did have it, right?
So this one had it as a second bill. There was a bill alongside it that offered the funding and produced all. So they took away that whole argument about that. And let's show the clip of these guys because this bill had support allegedly with all kinds of Democrats, and this is the problem with just thinking one or two more Democrats on board.
This is what happens when you have
will make things happen,
Because the last time a Medicare for all bill came to the governor's desk in California was when we had a Republican governor whom they knew would veto it. So when they have a Democratic governor, they're not going to risk it because I think Gavin Newsom just got $100 million from the healthcare insurance industry this past year. So that can change a person's mind really fast. But yes, let's see the head of the California Progressive.
Well, yeah. So so ultimately, just to be clear about what my take on what happened is that the Bernie guy put this bill up with all good intentions. The California Progressive Caucus said, we're going to go after people not supporting this bill, which is what you need to do. Yeah. The bill had all kinds of support. And the guy who put the bill up pulled it. I don't know why. You can make your own decisions on that. But this is a conversation on KRTD Media, which is the person interviewing him is from Red Berets. They're leftist.
Medicare for all, fight on all fronts.
Activists.
Yeah. I mean, we had everything ready to go. When you think about the organizing we did around this bill, first we got the California Democratic Party to endorse the bill. We had the the California Labor Federation endorse the bill. Their former Assemblywoman Lorena Gonzalez spoke at the California Nurses Association rally on behalf of the bill. Obviously, the nurses are with us. The teachers are with us. Teachers who have good health insurance, they recognize, like most labor does, that once you take health care off the table as a negotiating ploy because you have single-payer health care, they can focus on the terms of employment and wages and actually improve their condition. We had all the right allies, and what we didn't have was corporate money and medical corporations leaning on spending obscene amount of money on these assembly members to get them to vote against the people of California, against the party, and against labor. And it's just a sad fact that still in California, there remain plenty of corporate Democrats that are perfectly happy to take corporate money, to take medical corporation money, and vote against policies that will stop people from suffering, stop people from dying. They're perfectly happy to let those folks die so long as their seats are not imperiled.
Yep, it's pretty clear. I mean, there's no other way around it, which is why you force the vote. That is how you have a democracy. And I mean, they're going to tell us all to vote harder again, right? They're going to get out the vote. If you want to change things, don't boo, vote. And they don't even vote for the bill that they say that they support in order to get us to vote for them. And then when it comes time to vote for it, they hide behind, that they don't have the votes. They don't have enough votes.
Right. So Medicare for all, Rusty Hicks, who's in charge of the Democrat, the state DNC chair, I don't know, whatever the fuck the org is. He is supporting Medicare for all, and he literally had no interest in doing this, of course, because he has a powerful platform. How are you the chair of the Democratic Party in California, and you never tweet about it, you never pressure people, you do nothing, and that's the whole thing. This is just like their public statements are in support of it, but they do nothing to pass it, and they don't care about passing it. They will never pass it. They take
look at that. Look at that. That's our governor. 2017. Time for a new approach. Single payer offers a simpler, more effective, more cost-efficient approach to healthcare delivery in California. I'm tired of politicians saying they support single payer, but that it's too soon, too expensive, or someone else's problem. That's what he said when he was running.
So let's find all of his comments on this bill. They don't exist because he's not supporting this bill. So it's literally it's the DNC, the state Democratic Party chair is not. He says he supports it. He's not fighting for it. It's literally written in the platform in the Democratic Party in the state. So this is two opportunities where we had all the support in the world to pass it. Right. All the support in the world. The public supports it. Everyone supports it. I mean, we got the nurses supporting it. We have teachers supporting it. We have union support, and these people won't put it to a vote. And they know the reason they won't is twofold. They know it's popular. They know people will demand Democrats support it.
Right.
And they know that they don't have enough Democratic support because the Democratic Party is beholden to the donors in California, which is the insurance companies and the healthcare industry that's profiting off all this, including Nancy fucking Pelosi and her whole family. They're all getting rich off of this.
Yeah.
They this week, what was it? I think did we pull something on that? I don't know.
Yeah, I think we have it.
Pelosi got rich. She's getting rich off of betting against Medicare for all.
Yeah, that's different. This is a different thing. But yeah, we should all follow her trades because she somehow has made $100 million in Congress. Yeah, it's sick. And it really, it is so depressing, and it goes against, it just suppresses democracy, right? Because what's the point in voting for people who say they all know what's popular? So they say they're for Medicare for all, then they get in office and then they don't vote for it. So who's going to go out and vote for them again? We have a Democratic supermajority in California, and we got nothing. We killed our own bill. Not we. I'm not there anymore. But I'm not a Democrat anymore. I'm in California. But so then how does that incentivize people ever to go out and vote for them again?
And that's what, as a Californian, needs to be clear to people. Okay, we have a supermajority here. We have for a long time. So when people use the mansion cinema excuse, well, California can pave the way with this bill that they allegedly have supported forever.
That's right.
They allegedly have all these. It's written in the platform. Everything we could have had 10 Democrats. I think 11 Democrats could have said no to this.
Yeah,
and it still would have passed.
Yeah,
in California.
No, but they won't do that because then it would set the stage for it to start passing in other states.
And
and also the way. Yeah, go ahead.
No, but they're afraid to bring it to a vote because it will expose the 10 Democrats.
The hypocrisy, right?
In a completely safe state, completely safe. So if you think this whole strategy of like getting rid of Manchin and Sinema is going to work, well, California, we're 10 Democrats ahead. With every we're like 10, we have 10 more people to cancel out Sinema and Manchin, and we're not anywhere closer to, we can't get a vote. We can't even get a vote.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, we had 60 when Barack Obama came in, right? With Joe Lieberman. I mean, there's always going to be more money flooding in from big pharma and the healthcare insurance industry to ensure that those people vote against their constituents' interest. And that's just what's going to happen until we figure out a different way, which I don't know what the different way is actually.
It's probably, it's us making clear that something needs to happen. And I don't know.
Yeah.
It's action in the streets, like severe action. But let's show even the California Progressive Caucus chair, who is sympathetic to the guy who withdrew the bill. Like he's trying his best to be kind to
the person who sold him
the Bernie guy, Bernie guy who really fucked over.
Yeah.
I mean, working people, but fucked over the Progressive Caucus, because as soon as the Progressive Caucus said, we're going to go after the people that are against this bill, that's
when they pulled it.
That's when they pulled it. So let's show his clip real quick.
So the party endorsement, obviously you get the party brand that you can say you're the endorsed Democrat, but a lot of the benefit of being the endorsed Democrat is the money, the mailers, the labor going out to knock on doors, and then the fact that the party will clean money for you. So you can tell a corporate Democrat tells a corporation to give their money to the party cleans it, and then when they spend it, it just looks like Democratic Party money, and it doesn't look like corporate money at all. So that's the number one function of the California Democratic Party, is to clean corporate money on behalf of corporate Democrats.
Wow. Thank you for saying that. Amr, that's a really great way of putting it. So if they don't get that money from the party, then they're going to have to go straight to those corporations themselves, aren't they?
Yeah, and that's what we want, right? That's how democracy should function. If you are a corporate Democrat and you believe that will help you get elected, take the money from the corporations and then explain to your voters why you are taking that money to vote against the policies that will make their lives better. And we will put up a progressive Democrat that is corporate free, that is fossil fuel money free, that is police money free, and we will let the voters decide. But what's happening in California, particularly over the last couple of years after the election of Chair Rusty Hicks, is that the party has abandoned any pretense of advocating for values and has just turned into a wholesale cleaning operation for corporate money that delivers money to corporate Democrats and does not advocate on values. And we have a pretty good example here with this bill. It's endorsed by the party. In our platform, our founding documents, we have single payer healthcare. The chair, Rusty Hicks, went up and down the stage during his election campaign saying that he would fight for single payer because he supports this specific bill and he supports it in policy. And he will use the party to bring pressure on the assembly members. And now that the bill is here, completely vanished. No tweets, no statements, no work. And it's been, with him, it's been a similar thing when it comes to fossil fuel money. He's taken a bunch of it. When it comes to healthcare money, for medical corporations, he's taken a bunch of it. When it's law enforcement money, he refuses to say that we won't take it anymore.
So he just said that the California Democratic Party is a money laundering machine, which, I mean, that is a pretty...
How much did it take for him to say that? Like, yes, like there's...
He just said it so calmly. It's like, that is just such corruption, and we know it's happening and we're not doing anything about it. But yes, force the vote is the strategy. Put those people on record not doing what they said they were going to do. All right, we better get to our last one.
We should, but you should say something really important because I had a technical difficulty over here.
Oh, really? Oh, the wheel's gone? Well, do we even have to do it? Because we're going to talk about Joe Rogan. Isn't that what we're waiting for?
Is that
the Joe?
Yeah, let's just go to Rogan. To hell with
it. Just do it, right?
Rogan. What do we got on Rogan?
All right, let's talk about Joe Rogan.
Why is he in the news? Like, I have no idea.
Why is this guy the person that so many people are turning to? Why? Why is corporate media so threatened by what was he, like a WWE host, comedian? Why are they so threatened by this person that they want to shut him down for spreading misinformation? Which, by the way, I will say he has also had, I don't really watch him. I've watched clips, but he's had a variety of people on his show. I think he has them on sometimes for upwards of 3 hours. He does not always fact check in real time. How could you? He does allow people to speak and doesn't always correct them. I think there should be pushback when people are spreading lies, especially when you know that the person coming on is controversial. You want to have at least an expert on coming soon after to combat that. I do know he had Dr. Sanjay Gupta on. He had, what is his name? Dr. Michael Westerholm, who's on the Biden administration, medical expert panel. So he has had people on, but anyway, they are going full force with this, Neil Young and cancel Spotify. What's your feeling about it?
I mean, my feeling is like, okay, so if the world existed where there was some oversight body that could say you're spreading information, it's factual, we know what things are, maybe you should ban them, but we're not there. Everything is in flux. So there is not now, and there will never be on any situation a factual body to say this is true, this is incorrect. And the second layer of that is that he has discussions. You should allow people, even if you think he's an absolute idiot, which I think he's an idiot on so many topics, a ton of topics. But if you ban an idiot from speaking, like is that good? I mean, I don't know that that's good. I think you're creating these structures that.
Listen, soon as the way you combat it, and we all know this, and it used to be a liberal tenet, was that you fight bad speech with more good speech. That's what you do. And I'll even say he's put out, he has put out corrections, which is more than I can say for CNN and, Rachel Maddow. He has put out corrections, and now they're painting him with this very broad brush, like doing that kind of ick factor. I feel like they're doing to him what they did to Assange, and just like, oh, he's an out and out racist. He's an out and out transphobe. He's an out and out, like they're really just kind of making any, anybody who's at all associated with him, they're kind of tarring that person also. And it really makes you wonder what the incentive is here to go so full force on this one guy who's a podcaster, as opposed to all the other misinformation or dangerous information that's been put out by our president, by his CDC, right? By both administrations.
Well, so if you are seriously as concerned, I mean, he's a social, it's a pop culture moment where it's rallying support against him for moderates and that sort of people, like people that want someone to blame. They're like looking to protect the president. I mean,
yeah.
If you really want to go after people with misinformation, you go after everyone. I mean, if you're going to do that, like Jen Wen, one of my favorite people who was really good on COVID on CNN, pushed back against CNN for a while, is awful now.
Oh, Dr. Leanna Wen. Is that what you're talking about?
I call her Jen because
it's okay. Because Saki Bomb.
I call her Jen. That's what I do.
She's saying we need to have a hot vax spring right now. She's saying that.
Hot vax spring.
3,000 people are dying every day as our hospitals are completely overwhelmed, as it's spreading through kids. More kids are going to the hospital now than ever before. Kids are dying. Kids aren't supposed to die, whether they have comorbidities or pre-existing conditions, whatever it is. We're not supposed to just let kids die because we want to open up the schools and everybody go back to normal. And so
I just want to show.
Yeah.
I want to show what she said, because you took it off really quickly.
Sorry.
Is this the hot vax? I can't even read it because my camera's in the way.
But it's time to allow, even encourage most Americans to enjoy the hot vax spring ahead. Vaccinated people should appreciate this period of relative calm while we can, before another variant threatens to upend our lives again.
Like that is so anti-science. You should try to, the whole idea is, when we're close to getting something contained, we should not be encouraging something that increases the
this is what we did this is exactly what they did with Delta in July. Said, if you're vaccinated, take your mask off, live your best life.
Yeah, they keep doing this over and over. And it's like, no, the science hasn't changed in 3 years, like almost 3 years since we knew about this thing. Wear a fucking mask. N95s help stop the spread. Get vaccinated, all that stuff. But like, don't be around people. And they are pushing this return to normal thing like crazy.
And just because they're going to do the same thing that they did after it all spread in July, when they decided July 4th was going to be our big opening day and everything was back to normal. They are now going to say we need a different strategy to force people to vaccinate their kids or to incentivize it. They've shown that this doesn't work. If you relax restrictions, what that does is people who are vaccinated feel like maybe they can relax their restrictions, and people who are unvaccinated feel like, well, it's safe now. It does not encourage people to get vaccinated. So that is just not the way public health policy works. And they've been advised against this before. But even more startling, just because they're going to lie when it all goes out of control again, even more than it already is. Just today, the World Health Organization gave this guidance today.
BA.2 is one of the sublineages of Omicron. So BA.2 is Omicron, and it is a variant of concern. It's in the family of the variants of concern around Omicron. But the incidence of BA.2, the prevalence of this in some countries, is increasing. And in particular, we have some information in Denmark and in India where BA.2 is increasing in terms of its circulation. There is a suggestion that some of the initial data on BA.2 is that there's a slight increase in growth rate above BA.1. But beyond that, the data is really quite limited. We need people to be aware that this virus is continuing to circulate and it's continuing to evolve. And so that's why it's really important that we take measures to reduce our exposure to this virus, whatever variant is circulating. And Omicron is becoming dominant worldwide. It's overtaking Delta in a number of countries and around the world. And we also take the vaccine when it's our turn, so that we could reduce the opportunity to develop severe disease and death.
So,
vaccine is the last line of defense, right? Social distancing, shutting things down, masking, testing. Those are all what you do before, by the time the vaccine is doing its work, the virus has already gone through all those other Swiss cheese slices, right? And we're just taking all of those away and putting all of the reliance once again on the vaccine, and it's not working. We've seen this now for the last 10 months.
Everything slows down the spread of the vaccine, and the masks, the social distancing, the programs to keep people at home, anything that could potentially slow the spread of the virus is not being encouraged right now by the Biden administration. And if this were Trump, he would rightfully be getting hammered in the press, because the press should be listening to scientists on this stuff. And the press is ignoring all the scientists, and they're having on people like, I call her Jen because I don't know her first name.
Leanna Wen, Dr. Leanna Wen. Yeah.
Leanna Jen Wen. I mean, so she built a lot of trust with the public. And this comes back to how the press, Cuomo in New York built a lot of trust. And you see how Cuomo in New York was killing everyone in nursing homes. Terrible COVID response. But the press built him up as this magical figure. And they did the same thing to her. And now she's saying, let's just treat this like I don't even know what was her quote.
Hot vac summer, hot vac spring.
Hot vac spring. Like
no,
this
it's
person
despicable.
that built all this trust with the left because she was actually sort of respectable.
Yep.
So Lila and I are very aware of this. You are probably aware of this, but the regular viewer is not like, they're not tuned in to say, oh, we should turn on her. She's a bad person,
Right.
or she's pushing some sort of narrative.
Right.
So
it does bring back to why they're focusing on Rogan and his listeners, and what they want to do is, as you said, is malign the people who aren't getting vaccinated for those people preventing us from being able to return to normal. And that's the narrative that Biden came in with. It's a pandemic of the unvaccinated, and that's what they're sticking with, no matter all of the examples that show how wrong that he has been all along. And the people whose lies or dangerous information are permissible are vast. And for some reason, everybody's just targeting Joe Rogan right now. We have a thread. Should we show the thread?
Yes.
From
Do it.
Yeah. Okay. So this is me sharing a screen. It's the first time I've ever done it. It's very exciting for me. Wade Turnbull put together this thread talking about Biden closing in now on 500,000 COVID deaths under his presidency. Here is a mini thread of COVID-related quotes, lies, and inactions from Joe Biden. So he started saying, I would shut it down to stop the spread of COVID-19. I would listen to the scientists. And if you've noticed, as soon as Biden, the belief science president, came into office, we have not talked about a lockdown once since then. And in fact, he punished states that he threatened them that they wouldn't get COVID care help for their schools if they did a lockdown, and for their state. So right away, he was working for Wall Street. So I'm alarmed by the surge of reported COVID infections, hospitalizations, and fatalities. This crisis demands a robust and immediate federal response. It's been woefully lacking. That's what he says when it's Trump.
So just to be clear, he's not president yet. And we'll see the tipping point. It will be painfully clear when he's president.
Yeah, 220,000 deaths. Imagine. I mean, I can't believe the number of deaths we're even talking about.
We're at half a million,
under him, but we're at almost a million.
Conservative,
almost a million people, like souls. I mean, it's just horrifying. So this is Biden still. If you hear nothing else, anyone who's responsible for that many deaths should not remain president of the United States. That's what he says when it's Trump.
Write that down. Yeah. So the easiest campaign against him from even the right, if you're like, if you think lockdowns were bad, which I don't. I mean, we didn't have lockdowns, but anyway, the right will be able to spin that one statement right there into let's just do this. Let's go.
We're 8 months into the pandemic. Donald Trump doesn't have a plan to get this virus under control. And then here start some of the lies, or maybe just like lack of knowledge, which also you could accuse Joe Rogan of sometimes having lack of knowledge, right? That we're all people, that can happen, where sometimes you make mistakes, or, the science can change, right? As new information comes in, right? But so you're not going to get COVID if you have these vaccinations. If you're vaccinated, you're not going to be hospitalized. You're not going to be in the ICU unit, and you're not going to die. Kids don't get COVID. Go ahead.
Well, no, a lot of dead people would like to disagree with him on that. And kids obviously can get COVID. None of this ever gets into the long-term effects of COVID.
He doesn't. Doesn't even talk about that.
Pretend that
and
doesn't
nobody's
exist.
Canceling him on MSNBC and CNN and Neil Young. Starting today, if you're fully vaccinated and you're outdoors, not in a big crowd, you don't need to wear a mask. And then when he talks about Omicron, how did we get it wrong? Nobody saw it coming. Nobody in the whole world who saw it coming. Well, that same video that I showed you from today, that the WHO put out today, there was a similar one. I mean, many, but back in June, talking about Delta then, and then Omicron back in October, when they said, open up. Hey, go live your best holidays. Go visit your family for the holidays.
Literally all of this has been,
yeah.
Science has seen this coming entirely the entire way. They know. I mean, we're creating an Omicron variant factory by having only so much of the population vaccinated, by promoting this idea that the vaccinated should just be out chilling and life is good if you're vaccinated. So you have more spread. I mean, that's the whole thing. All of it, literally all of it is to keep people working without the government spending any more money. And just hopeful wishing. I mean, we're literally going to end the population of the world.
No, it's really sick. And again, it just goes back to, because this all started with Rogan, that it's just really the height of hypocrisy that only one person is being singled out. And then, of course, there's the other thing that we all have now seen, I am sure, and know, which is Neil Young just sold half of his library to what's it called? Hypnosis. Where is that?
Right.
Where is it? Yeah. To Hypnosis for $150 million. So he wants to pull his library from Spotify and is telling people to go listen to his music on Amazon and Apple.
Yeah. So the
but he's
people
got it
that
in
really,
for Joe Rogan.
Yeah, the people really anti-Rogan on this they're gonna give their money to Amazon.
Jeff Bezos.
You're gonna. How delusional?
It really shows you, like, yeah.
No, but how fucked are we? That that's the out here. The out here is like, okay, so let's just hypothetically say that Joe Rogan is a terrible person. I don't agree with them on everything. So Amazon, this is
not
your
even
move?
In the same league. Joe Rogan couldn't do the damage that Jeff Bezos has done if he tried every single day for the rest of his life. I mean, really. It's just also hypocritical and gross. And that's the narrative that's being put out. And one, 60s rocker after another is coming out now and, saying and threatening Spotify. And listen, Spotify also has disgusting business practices, and they treat their musicians horribly, and they pay, I think, 0.03 cents as opposed to 1 cent on every stream. So they're really robbing their musicians. That's something that you might want to speak up for, Mr. I just sold my library for $150 million. Maybe that's something you could have shown some solidarity with the musicians who have been suffering on Spotify, not because now you just want to, because also Hypnosis, who bought his library, who bought Neil Young's library, is owned by Blackstone, who's buying up all of the homes, single homes in the United States and trying to just create a serfdom of renters, who also has hundreds of millions of dollars at stake in Pfizer. I mean, it's all so corrupt and nefarious, and to act like this is all being done just to shut down misinformation is completely dishonest and gross.
I mean, I really think it's a distraction. So Biden's polls are in the shitter, the absolute shitter. So focusing cultural issues on Joe Rogan, and we have this whole discussion, it turns into ultimately pro-abortion or not pro-abortion. I mean, Rogan is problematic in a lot of ways, but he isn't he's having discussion. Now he's had terrible discussions. I agree.
So have we.
He's had
this one's kind of going off the rails.
Is this one of them? Hey, Lila, I'm sorry. I don't agree with you saying the N-word.
Oh my God. Stop it.
I
don't say the N-word. Now he's trying to be funny. No more shots for you, Pat.
No,
I'm about to do our This Is Art so we can roll this up.
Damn it. 6:15. But my point with Rogan is Rogan has done a lot of bad things. I don't agree with everything he says. Right. But the one thing he does is he has a discussion. He's not. So if you're trying to ban a guy like that, he might be an idiot So do you want to ban all idiots? Like,
yeah.
Who decides? Who decides the idiot line?
Yeah. And again, we look at what happened. I think just yesterday, there was somebody hired by NBC News who helped lie us into the war in Iraq, right? He said that Saddam Hussein and Al Qaeda were in a close alliance. Stephen Hayes. They just hired him at NBC News. That lie somehow is fine.
And Brian Williams, how many people they had all these they had. Yeah. So if Joe Rogan's passed with dropping the N-bomb a million times, awful. But what about Joy Reid with homophobia and transphobia?
Yeah. Whoa, that wasn't her. Remember,
Islamophobia.
That was the time machine. That was Russia getting into the time machine.
Yeah. So if you're going to go there, go there. But
yeah, no, it's
but
really
who decides? Who decides?
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty upsetting, and it's hard to chip away at that mainstream media corporate narrative that has people so beholden to it, and they really think that what they're doing, again, it kind of comes down to trying to ward off evil. They're convinced that the other side is evil, and feeling a sense of moral rectitude about the positions they hold, no matter what, and they do not want to hear the facts about it. They don't want to hear that their side sometimes gets it wrong, sometimes lies, sometimes is like massively corrupt. They don't want to hear it. So
they don't. But what normie Dems need to hear is that the fact that the public doesn't understand this stuff. A lot of the left that pushes this stuff and helps get Dems elected understand this stuff, and it's going to cost them the election regardless of how they feel about Trump, because the people in the middle made a choice to police funding was a big thing, and for a lot of people that put Biden over the top. George Floyd, when he died, BLM support was way below 50%, and it became 2/3 of the country.
Yep.
And then Democrats brought it all the way down.
Yep.
The ICE detentions.
Yep.
There are so many issues on the left that Democrats won squeakily the last election.
And then they've done nothing on, or they've only furthered the horrible policies.
They have only seemed like frauds. Even to moderates, even to people that are not paying attention. They are going to lose to this fascist stuff on the right that they've. Anyway.
Yep. Unless maybe Biden will team up with Cheney. Wasn't that Tom Friedman's great idea? I'm joking.
Oh my God.
Hey, it's 6:20. It's 6:20. We all got places.
Is that like 420 plus 2 or something?
Yeah, it's time for my wine. I have to slowly segue from my shots to my wine. This was fun. I don't feel all that positive about the future, but I really appreciate dissecting it all with everybody and, talking about it. Thank you all for your comments. I really appreciate it. I couldn't read them fast enough. I tried to get most of them up there, but I so appreciate you guys all hanging out with us today and doing the shots, drinking the good juice.
Nice. I will say something positive is that, I think seeing the guy from CPC, the Progressive Caucus here, even publicly turning on a Bernie guy.
Yeah.
And I love the Bernie guy. I don't think, but I think we have some hope in that people in the mix of this stuff have seen enough. They've, what Bernie exposed was the possibility that we can, outside of the electoral system, raise enough awareness to get people motivated in the streets. And that's not working yet. But seeing a guy like him come out and call the party out gives me hope, because we have to be
honest
vigilant
about it. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you have people
and hold these people to account.
And this is the squad criticism again, is like, the closer you are to all this stuff, the more you should be exposing about this stuff.
That's right.
Because it's not going to work.
That's really the only purpose. Exactly. That's the only way to keep that democracy going, which, yeah. All right, my friend. Make sure you drink lots of water. Soak it all up.
I will. No chance.
I'm gonna call you a little bit when I share my Wordle score with you.
No,
I'm gonna remind you to drink some water.
I'm gonna screenshot my two Wordle win. I might even tweet it. I'm gonna tweet it.
You must have had it on
public.
easy mode.
No, come on.
I'm joking. That was a shitty thing. All right, you guys. Lots of love to everybody out there. Keep punching up. We will see you all next week. Love you guys. Cheers.